Welcome back to Bank of USA Coins. Today, we bring very special old coins update. And this is big good news for all coin dealers and coin collectors around the world. If you love rare coins and hidden treasure in your pocket, then this video is for you. Many people use these small dime coins every day, but they do not know some of them are worth thousands and even millions of dollars. Yes, a simple 10-cent coin can change your life if you find the rare one. So do not skip, do not scroll. Stay with us because today we show top 5 most valuable USA 1-dime coins that collectors are searching like gold right now. Coins Collector, where every coin tells a story and every story reveals a treasure. Today, we dive deep into the fascinating world of United States dimes, and we focus on a year that at first glance may seem ordinary, but holds secrets that excite collectors and treasure hunters around the world. Yes, we are talking about the 1966 dime, a coin that many people overlook, yet has sparked rumors, discussions, and speculation about rare, valuable specimens worth amazing sums of money. Now, before we begin, let us set the stage for you. Let us walk together into the history of the dime, the design, the mint, the metal composition, and the collecting community that surrounds this small but powerful piece of American history. Imagine holding a tiny silver-colored coin that fits perfectly between your fingers, and yet carries the weight of history, the economy, and the passion of collectors worldwide. The 1966 US dime is part of the Roosevelt series, which began in 1946 when President Franklin D. Roosevelt was honored on the dime after his death. Some say because of his leadership during difficult times, others say because of his association with the March of Dimes charity. Yet whatever the reason, the Roosevelt dime became a staple of American pocket change for decades. Now let us talk about the basics of the 1966 dime. The coin carries the familiar profile of President Roosevelt on the obverse side, and a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch on the reverse side representing liberty, peace, and strength. The 1966 dime was struck in large numbers at multiple mints because it was an everyday circulating coin. But here is where the story becomes interesting. In 1965, the United States had changed the composition of its dimes from 90 silver to a copper nickel-clad composition due to rising silver prices and economic pressures. This change carried into 1966, which means that most 1966 dimes you find in your pocket change today are made of copper and nickel, not silver. This composition change makes many coins from this year seem ordinary and not inherently valuable in terms of metal content. But value in the coin world is not just about metal, it is about rarity, condition, demand, and story. So how can a coin like the 1966 dime ever be considered valuable or even worth millions? That is a great question, and today we explore that question in detail. We will discuss varieties, errors, mint marks, conditions, grading, and famous auction results that fuel dreams of finding treasure in small change. First, let us talk about rarity and mint errors. In the coin world, a rare variety or a striking error can take an otherwise common date and turn it into something highly desirable. Among the most exciting possibilities for the 1966 dime are die errors, such as double die errors, where the image is struck more than once, creating a doubling effect, or off-center strikes where the design is misaligned on the planche. These proof coins were usually sold in sets and are not common in circulation. Finding a proof 1966 dime that has survived decades in pristine condition can be exciting for collectors and can bring strong interest at auctions. But here is the part many people ask about. Can a 1966 dime really be worth millions? Yes, stories circulate in forums and among collectors about ultra-rare coins that have achieved astonishing prices. It is important to understand that when we talk about values in the millions, we are usually talking about exceptional pieces that have something extraordinary about them. A typical 1966 dime, even in uncirculated condition, is not going to fetch millions. Instead, the coins that reach astounding prices are usually one of a kind, or near one of a kind. They might have a dramatic error, a unique die pairing, or a provenance that connects them to historical events or collections. For example, imagine a 1966 dime that was struck on the wrong planche. Imagine a dime that was accidentally struck on a silver planchet from an earlier era before the composition change. That type of coin would be extremely rare, perhaps unique, and it could attract intense interest from top collectors and museums. Imagine the whispers in auction rooms as bidders compete for a coin that no one else has ever seen. We also must mention the importance of coin grading in the collectible coin market. Grading is the process by which professional services examine a coin and assign a grade that reflects its condition and quality. The grade can range from poor to mint state, with many nuanced levels in between. A coin graded MS-70 by a respected grading service is considered perfect, with no visible flaws under magnification. These perfect coins are rare and can bring premium prices, especially for older coins or scarce dates. Even for common dates, collectors pay more for coins that look flawless. But the dream of millions comes when a coin is both rare and in exceptional condition. The combination of rarity, condition, demand, and story can make a coin legendary. And that is why coin collectors talk in hushed, excited tones about the possibility of finding that one special coin that changes lives. Let us put this into perspective with real-world examples, not specific to 1966 dimes, but representative of the coin market. In past auctions, coins with dramatic errors or unique historical significance have brought prices in the millions. These are coins that are extraordinary outliers. They are not average coins you find in pocket change. They are treasures often residing in major collections or museums. But the excitement of coin. Collecting is that sometimes these rare prizes are found in unexpected places. Now let us focus back on the 1966 dime. What should you look for if you are examining these coins for potential errors or rare varieties? First, examine the lettering and design elements for doubling. Look at the date and the profile of Roosevelt for any signs of extra metal or shadowing. That doubling effect can be subtle, but to a trained eye, it signals a variety that might be worth further investigation. Next, check for off-center strikes where the design is not centered on the coin surface. These are often dramatic and easy to spot because part of the design is missing or shifted. Next, examine the edges and surfaces for planchet errors, such as clipped planchets where part of the coin was missing during striking, or wrong planchet errors, where a non-typical metal was used. In the case of the 1966 dime, a wrong planchet could be a silver planchet, which is extraordinary because it would mean a coin was struck with the older composition by accident. If you think you have found something unusual, the next step is to submit the coin to a professional grading service. They will examine the coin, confirm whether it is a known variety, an error, or potentially a previously undocumented anomaly. These services provide authentication and encapsulation, which allows buyers and sellers to have confidence in the coin's attributes. Once a coin is graded, you can research similar coins sold at auction to see what the market has paid. At this point, you might be wondering what typical values are for 1966 dimes in ordinary grades. Common 1966 dimes in circulated condition are plentiful and generally trade for little above face value in the coin collecting community. Uncirculated examples in high mint state grades can be more valuable, but still usually in the range that reflects collector interest, not extraordinary treasures. But when we talk about extraordinary special examples, the landscape changes. Rare error coins, unique varieties, and coins of exceptional condition can draw serious collector interest. The values can escalate rapidly, and in some cases, coins have achieved six-figure or even higher results at major auctions. But these cases are rare and often involve coins with unique and verified attributes that set them apart from the standard issues. As you explore your coin collections, remember that the joy of coin collecting is not only in finding high-value pieces, but also in appreciating the history, art, and craftsmanship of these tiny metallic storytellers. Each coin carries a journey from the mint to the hands of countless people across decades and sometimes centuries. The dime may be small, but its story is vast and deep, and for many collectors, that story is the true treasure. Hello, and welcome to Coins Collector. Today we are diving deeply into the world of US dimes, and specifically answering a question that many numismatists and coin hunters have asked. What is the most valuable 1980 US dime? And could it be worth millions? Before we start exploring rare varieties, facts, and collector stories, let us set the foundation by understanding what a 1980 dime actually is. In the United States, the Roosevelt dime has been in circulation since 1946. In 1980, the Mint produced dimes at multiple facilities, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. These coins are made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, meaning they contain no precious metal like silver or gold as older dimes did when silver was used. Because so many 1980 dimes were minted and used in everyday commerce, most are worth their face value of 10 cents. But inside these common coins, there can be hidden treasures if you know what to look for. So, what can make a dime valuable? First, it could be an unusually high-grade coin. In coin grading, we assess how well-preserved a coin is. A coin that has never been circulated, that retains its original mint luster, and sharp details can be worth significantly more than face value. For example, a 1980 dime-graded MS-66 with full bands can fetch prices in the thousands of dollars in auction records. The full bands designation is important when it comes to Roosevelt dimes. The bands on the torch on the reverse should be fully defined when the coin was struck. Strong strikes were rare in 1980. So a coin that shows crisp full bands often commands a premium. Collectors seek these examples, and certified specimens sometimes bring over $2,000 or more. Next, there are error coins. These are coins that escaped from the mint with a mistake. A common type of valuable error is a missing clad layer, meaning the outer metal layer failed to bond to the copper core, leaving part of the coin exposed. A coin like this can show a copper appearance rather than the normal silver tone, and because errors happen rarely. Some error coins can be worth hundreds of dollars when they are graded and authenticated. Other error types include coins struck off center clips on the plancher, or other unusual minting abnormalities. Each type of error has a different collector value based on how scarce and how dramatic the mistake appears. Now let us talk about some real-life high-dollar examples. In 1975, not 1980, a rare Roosevelt dime struck at the San Francisco Mint was discovered that lacked the S Mint mark. This coin became famous because only two are known to exist, and one of them sold at auction for more than $500,000, proving beyond doubt that dime errors can be astonishingly valuable. Stories like this attract interest, but it is important to be clear that this example is not a 1980 dime. Instead, it demonstrates what can happen when a major minting error meets extreme rarity, but still gives us insight into why collectors might pay huge sums for extraordinary coins. So how do you know if your 1980 dime might be valuable? First, examine the mint mark. The mint mark on a 1980 dime will be P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco. Using a magnifier, check that the date and letters are sharp and free from doubling chips or other irregularities. If there is obvious doubling on the date or lettering, that might indicate a double die variety, and that can be worth more than face value if certified by a grading service. Next, look at the reverse torch bands using a strong magnifier or macro lens. If the horizontal bands across the torch are fully separated and show excellent detail, that coin could be in a full bands category, which makes it more desirable than a typical circulated coin. Error coins that show missing clad layers, clipped planchets, or off-center strikes should be carefully documented, photographed, and if you believe it is genuine, you should consider submitting it to a trusted grading company, such as PCGS or NGC, for authentication and certification. These companies can help confirm whether your coin is a real error and assign a grade that helps determine market value. Another common question is, what about proof coins? Proof coins are specially struck coins designed for collectors and produced at the San Francisco Mint. In 1980, proof dimes also exist, and while they are more collectible than circulated coins, most proof 1980 dimes are still worth modest amounts unless they have a dramatic error or very high grade. Let us recap the key points. If you find a 1980 dime in your change, most are common and worth face value. A high-grade uncirculated example, especially one with full bands, can be worth hundreds or even a few $1,000s in rare cases. Specific error examples could be worth hundreds of dollars or more. And extreme mint errors from the Roosevelt dime series, such as a missing mint mark from other years, have sold at auction for staggering prices, showing the potential of rare coins in the hobby. Every collector should know that rare coin collecting is a long game. It takes time, patience, and often professional grading expertise to discover the full story behind a coin and its real value. Many coins that seem unusual are not worth much more than face value, but the rare exceptions excite collectors and make the coin collecting hobby special. So if you enjoy coin hunting, keep checking rolls, bank finds, and old collections. You never know when you might discover something extraordinary. Thanks for watching. Coins Collector, be sure to like and subscribe for more coin tips, stories, and deep dives into rare and valuable coins. Hey coin collectors, welcome back to the channel today. We are diving deep into one of the most intriguing and talked about coins in modern US numismatics, the 1969 dime. And yes, you may have heard rumors that some versions of this coin are worth millions. And we are going to explore that in detail and show you what to look for, and why condition rarity and errors can change a dime from face value to a treasure. Introduction to the 1969 dime. The 1969 dime is officially known as the Roosevelt dime. It was produced at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. The vast majority were common circulation strikes, and for most people, they hold only the face value of 10 cents. But among the billion struck, there are rare varieties and errors that collectors go crazy for. And that is what can push values into tens, thousands, and even claims of $1 million coin in extreme cases based on auction reports and collector lore. Explain common values of typical 1969 dimes. First, let's set expectations. Most 1969 circulation dimes, without errors, are common, and in circulated condition, they trade around their face value around 10 cents to a few dollars. Even in uncirculated condition, most standard examples top out under $1,000. That is because hundreds of millions were minted, and most of them are out in the world somewhere. Explain full bands and mint state grades. However, if you find a coin in exceptional condition, collectors describe mint state or misses grades, and especially the full bands variety, where the horizontal lines on the torch on the reverse are crisp and distinct. The values start to climb in these cases. A high-grade example can be worth hundreds or even a couple $1,000s to the right bidder. But again, this is still modest compared to the rumored millions. Introducing rare error coins that can be high value. Now this is where things get exciting. Error coins and die varieties can drastically change the story. For a 1969 dime, one of the rarest and most talked about is the 1969 S-proof dime that was mistakenly struck without the S mint mark on the obverse proofs from San Francisco were supposed to carry the mint mark, but a few slipped through the process without it, and fewer than a dozen are confirmed to exist. These no S-proof dimes in high grade have auction records and reported values in the tens of thousands of dollars range, and some sources mention estimates much higher, especially if condition and eye appeal are perfect. But remember that market values fluctuate, and only verified auction results count for real money. Doubled die errors, and why they matter. Another exciting variety is the doubled die obverse, where key inscriptions and numbers appear. Doubled due to the hub being struck twice when making the die. This error is visually dramatic, and collectors love it, depending on the degree of doubling. And the grade, these coins can sell for hundreds to thousands of dollars. And some exceptional pieces have moved for figures that excite collectors. Stories of extremely high-valued 1969 related coins. You may have heard buzz about a 1969 S-dime era that sold for what sounds like millions. One report talks about a 1969 S doubled die era, valued at $1,500,000 USD. Although verification is often tricky, and some details can get exaggerated on internet forums and articles, the key point is that truly rare mint error specimens in superb condition, with proper certification from a reputable grading service like PCGs or NGC, can command extraordinary prices at auction, and local dealers do sometimes see intense bidding wars for ultra-rare coins, much rarer rarities, and comparing with historic million-dollar dimes. It's important to note that the most famous dime worth millions in US collecting history is the 1894 S Barber dime, which has sold for well over $1 million in top grades and is part of what collectors call the Big Three in US coins. The 1894 S dime is from a completely different era and mintage and is not related to the modern 1969 dime, but it's mentioned here to provide context that yes, dimes can be worth millions if they are truly rare. Historical coins or errors with extremely low surviving populations. How to inspect your coin and find rarity. So how do you inspect a 1969 dime? If you think you might have something valuable, start with a magnifying glass. Compare the details of the date, the mint mark, and look for inconsistencies. Doubling in letters or numbers, missing mint marks, and crisp bands on reverse are signs for deeper study. Take clear photos of both obverse and reverse, and consider sending the coin to a grading service. These services evaluate and assign an official grade, and that can make the difference when selling or auctioning your coin collectors. Trust certified grades the most, and that boosts market confidence. Closing encouragement and call to action. So, collectors, whether you found a 1969 dime in an old coin album or inherited one from your grandparents, remember that while most are common, some special varieties and errors can hold surprising value, and it's always worth learning and checking, getting expert opinions, and sharing with fellow collectors. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1969 dime and want more coin treasure, hunts and valuation stories, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell, and leave a comment with your own rare coin stories. Today, we are diving deep into a fascinating world of coin collecting, and we are going to explore one of the most talked about and legendary coins in modern numismatics, the 1981 United States dime, that some collectors believe could be worth millions of dollars. This video is brought to you by Coins Collector, and we are embarking on a journey that will take us through the history, design, production errors, rarity pricing, market updates, collecting, strategies, and why some coins become extraordinarily valuable. Grab your notebooks and let us begin with an open mind and a passion for collecting. The United States dime has been produced since 1796, and over the centuries, many dimes have become highly sought after. Some, like the 1894 S dime, are famous for their rarity and astronomical values. But when we talk about a dime from 1981, a year that saw millions of these coins struck, how could any example be worth millions? The answer lies in minting errors, varieties, condition, provenance, and the ever-evolving coin market. In 1981, the United States Mint produced dimes at facilities in Philadelphia and Denver. The Philadelphia Mint produced coins without a mint mark, and the Denver Mint used a D-mint mark. These coins were struck in large numbers for circulation, and in typical condition they are common. However, every year among millions of coins, there are anomalies and mistakes that catch the eye of collectors and dealers. One of the reasons why a 1981 dime could become highly valuable is due to striking errors. Errors can occur when the plancher, blank entering the press, is defective. When the coin is missing metal or has an off-center strike, it can create a unique piece that collectors will pay a premium for. Some dimes may exhibit significant off-center strikes where the design is partially missing. Others may show double strikes or die cracks or cut errors where a piece of the die breaks off and leaves a raised blob on the coin. These error coins are fascinating to collectors because they are unique and tell a story about the minting process. Another reason a 1981 dime could be valuable is if it is a rare variety. There have been reports over the years from collectors of potential proof-like or full bands dimes that exhibit exceptional luster and contrast. Bands refer to the horizontal lines on the facets on the reverse of Roosevelt dimes, coins that show fully separated bands with sharp definition. Full bands are more desirable because they indicate a higher quality strike and better preservation of detail. Collectors and grading services such as PCGS and NGC have designations for full bands, which can increase the value of a coin significantly. In addition to errors and varieties, the condition of a coin plays a huge role in its value. Uncirculated coins graded MS65, MS66, MS67 and above by professional grading services can fetch high prices, especially if they are rare survivors from the original mintage. A perfect MS70 dime with exceptional eye appeal can be a centerpiece for any serious collection and may trade hands for thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars depending on demand. But what about the claim that some 1981 dimes are worth millions? Yes, there are occasional rumors that a specific coin or discovery of a unique era could be worth extraordinary sums. The story goes that a collector found a 1981 dime with an unbelievable error, a mule strike or a unique planchet incompatibility. These stories circulate in collector forums at coin shows and on social media, but as of the latest market data, no. 1981 dime has been authenticated by the major grading services as being worth millions. Yet the excitement lies in the possibility of discovery, because when one rare coin is found, it can change the value landscape overnight. To understand how a coin becomes so valuable, we need to look at the forces of supply and demand. When a coin is scarce, and collectors want it more than there are coins available, the price goes up. When an error, or variety, is officially recognized by grading services, more collectors pay attention. The coin becomes famous, and the market can drive its value higher. Collectors are always on the lookout for the next great discovery, and that keeps the hobby vibrant and exciting. Now let us talk about real documented sales and auction results. When we look at 1981 dimes with full bands and high grade, we see that they can command prices much higher than face value. In recent years, coins graded MS66 with full bands have sold for significant amounts, and rare error examples can fetch strong prices. Buyers at major auctions and online platforms compete and drive prices up for the most desirable examples. This is the real-world coin market. Not rumors, but documented transaction history. It is important to note that most 1981 dimes in circulated condition are worth only their face value, or slightly above if they are in nice condition. But the few high-grade uncirculated examples and the rarer error coins are where the real numismatic value lies. Collectors interested in these coins should educate themselves on how to identify a full band strike, how to spot off-center errors, die cracks and other anomalies, use magnification, proper lighting, and comparison with known examples from reliable sources. Now let us dive deeper into what makes an error coin valuable. One category is off-center strikes. If the coin is struck significantly off-center and shows a large portion of blank planchet, it can be graded and certified by a professional service. If the off-center error is dramatic and visually striking, it can demand high collector interest. Off-center errors are usually more valuable when they exceed a certain percentage of off-centering. Typically, a coin off-center by more than 30% will be more collectible. Another error category is double strikes. In a double-struck coin, the blank may receive 2 blows from the press, creating a ghost-like second impression of the design. These examples can be very interesting, but the degree of error and eye appeal heavily influence value. Die cracks and cuds occur when the minting die develops fractures. The sudsteth resulting coins show raised lines or blobs where metal flowed into the crack. These pieces are unique, and each one tells a minting story. Also consider planchet errors such as clipped planchets or wrong planchet strikes. If a dime is struck on a planchet intended for another denomination or foreign coin, that error can be extremely rare and valuable. Believe it or not, coins struck on wrong planchets from other. Of finding a rare error or a full band high-grade example may be small, but some collectors love the thrill of the hunt. Every coin tells a story, and every discovery is rewarding, whether monetary or historical. Now let us address grading and certification. A professional grading service, such as PCGS or NGC, examines coins and assigns a grade based on condition and authenticity. They also label recognized varieties like full bands and list certain errors. This third-party certification is critical for high-end coin trading because buyers need assurance that the coin is genuine and graded fairly. A coin in a sealed holder from a reputable grading company often sells for much more than raw coins without certification. Today, we explore one of the most fascinating stories in modern numismatics, a true legend in the world of rare coins. And this is the tale of a 1973 US dime, so rare, so coveted, that collectors whisper about it as a potential $1,000,000 coin. Many of you have heard rumors. Many of you have seen posts on social media. Some of you might even believe you have one in your collection. But what is the truth, and what makes this coin so special? Today, we dive deep into its history, its rarity, its authentication, and its value journey. To understand why a 1973 dime could be valuable, we must go back to the basics of US coinage. In 1965, the Kennedy half dollar was changed from 90 silver to a clad composition, and soon after dimes, quarters, and half dollars followed suit. The US Mint was transitioning away from silver, and by 1971, all dimes were copper nickel-clad. The standard dime from 1973 was struck in large quantities for circulation. Millions and millions were produced, and most of them look like every other dime you see in your pocket change. But within that year, and within that simple coin design, lies a story that captures the hearts of collectors everywhere. The idea of an error coin is powerful because coins are made by machines. Human and mechanical processes are not perfect, and sometimes mistakes occur. These mistakes can result in coins with doubled dies, coins with missing elements, coins struck on wrong planchets, and more. And some of these errors can be extremely valuable. But did such a thing really happen with a 1973 dime produced in the United States? That is the question that has driven collectors to search through rolls of dimes and dig through old collections for decades. Rumors about a 1973 dime worth millions began on collector forums and social media groups. Many stories claim that a rare variety of the 1973 dime exists with an extra leaf or a doubling on the date and the mint mark. Others claim that a proof error was discovered that was never officially recognized by the United States Mint. Some claim that a presentation strike was accidentally produced and sent out, and that only one or two survived. One story even suggests that President Nixon personally ordered a special run for VIPs. But none of these stories have official documentation, and none are supported by the United States Mint. What we do have are passionate collectors who believe something extraordinary exists and are willing to search tirelessly for it. Before we examine the specifics of the 1973 dime rumors, we need to understand what makes a coin valuable in general. Rarity is the most important factor. A coin that only a few exist is more valuable than a coin that millions of collectors can find easily. Historical importance matters. Condition is crucial. A coin in pristine uncirculated condition, graded by an accepted grading service, will command a premium over one that is worn. Damage or cleaning can destroy value. Unique errors that are verified can also drive value higher, and coins with documented provenance that ties them to important events, or people can fetch incredible prices. So when people talk about a 1973 dime, worth millions, they are referring to something that would have to be extremely rare in perfect condition and backed by a compelling story. Numismatists recognize that the 1973 dime was struck in Philadelphia and Denver, and that standard circulation strikes are common. There are some minor varieties that collectors note, but none that have been officially declared as rare million-dollar pieces. There are doubled die varieties on other denominations from different years, and there are known error coins from various mints, but for the 1973 dime, nothing on record suggests a dramatic error with millions of dollars attached. That has not stopped collectors from searching, and from some intriguing finds being brought to light. Collectors share stories. The thrill of searching through rolls of dimes at local banks. The excitement of finding a coin that looks slightly different. The disappointment when it turns out to be a common variety. Yet some collectors claim that they have found dimes with strange markings, with subtle anomalies, and they bring them to local coin clubs for inspection. Everyone gathers around under magnifying glasses and microscopes. Some of these coins turn out to be die cracks, or filled die marks. Others turn out to be post-mint damage. But the hunt itself becomes part of the adventure, part of what drives the passion in the numismatic community. If you believe you have a rare 1973 dime, the next step is authentication and grading. A professional service such as PCGS or NGC can evaluate the coin, examine it under strict criteria, and determine whether it is a known variety, an error piece, or something unique. These services assign a grade based on condition and can encapsulate the coin in a protective holder with a label and certification number. This process gives collectors confidence, and if the coin is truly rare and verified, it can be submitted to auctions where serious collectors will vie for ownership. Auction houses like Heritage and Stackers Bowers have sold rare coins for record prices. Over the years, coins such as rare 1804 silver dollars and 1913 Liberty Head nickels have sold for millions. But what about dimes? The most valuable dimes on record include extremely rare barber dimes and early issues, but a modern-clad dime from 1973 has not appeared in major auction records at the level of millions of dollars. This does not mean that something extraordinary cannot be found. In the world of coins, surprises have happened. But as of now, there is no documented sale of a 1973 dime that reached the $1 million mark. Look at the date and mint mark under magnification. Compare the lettering and spacing with known examples from reference guides. Check for doubling on the date or other elements. Check for off-center strikes, missing elements, or unusual planche characteristics. If you think you have an error, bring it to a local coin club. Meet experienced collectors. They can often help identify whether what you have is common or potentially special. Remember, a genuine rare error will show consistent characteristics across its anomaly, not random scratches or dents from circulation. Many collectors have written in to share their experiences. Some tell of finding old coin albums from grandparents and hoping the one coin inside might be the jackpot. Others speak of years of collecting and the relationships built through trade shows, coin shows, and online communities. The joy of collecting goes deeper than value. It is about history, art, and connection. The legend of the 1973 dime worth millions may be more myth than fact at this point, but the search for rare coins brings excitement and passion to coin collectors everywhere. If you find something that looks unusual, do your research, document it. Get it graded and share your journey with the community. Even if your coin is not the $1 million piece, you still hold a piece of history, and that is priceless.